Welcome back to the Square the Circle Music Channel. It's me, your pal, your host, Aaron Major. That's right. Well, over here in Western Oregon, when the weather starts to get chilly and the breeze starts blowing and the sun starts disappearing into the night, we like to sit and spin records and then get on YouTube and talk about it, right? So, yeah, welcome back to it. Pull up a seat, grab a cold drink. We're going to talk about music appreciation. We're going to talk about record collecting and other such fun things. What you guys been up to? There's some dog running around loose out there, barking his nuts off. It's driving me crazy. So please, pardon the interruption. I'm just going to let it fucking roll because I'll be honest with you guys, this is like the third take I've tried to do because of all kinds of stupid interruptions. But hey, my apartment smells great because I'm cooking up some chicken Bombay soup. And I got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, guys. I'm going to do another stupid episode of my little thing that I do when I talk about I go out to the junk stores, secondhand, thrift stores, Tales from the Thrift, I like to call this little episode. This is like installment number 19. So, yeah, it's fun. Today's topic of conversation, of course, getting thrifty finds, but I have a little secondary kind of like a horse trading kind of little side hustle that I do from time to time, and I spent quite a few hours of my Sunday this last weekend doing work for a local record store here in Eugene, Oregon that I do handyman and maintenance work for, the House of Records on 13th Avenue in Eugene, Oregon. Head down there, check it out. But yeah, did some repairs and managed to finagle quite a big chunk of delicious treats for me to share. So I'm going to share what I got with my trade credits. Found a couple cool gems from the junk stores that I'll talk about a little bit, and that will conclude this episode. So let me wet my whistle real quick here, and we'll head on down the trail. Well, I'll show you my compact discs first. I got some rad CDs, and actually, I don't think no, this one came from the junk store. Most of them I got with my trade credit from the House of Records because they have fantastic compact discs as well. And CDs are really cheap right now, and I'm really digging getting some archival stuff, and stuff that I should have listened to before, but I've never really given a shot. Now I can get it for like $1, $2, and $3. And hey man, I'm not a fucking purist. I don't care. I listen to all formats. So this is a discussion topic group where we discuss music appreciation in all formats, right guys? Okay, so let's get into it. I talk about this gal incessantly. I grew up in the 80s. Her career was huge in the 80s and early 90s, and it was just a huge part of my family and what was going on in the household as I was growing up, and so I'm not embarrassed to admit a huge kind of what do we call that? Just kind of like a guilty pleasure, I suppose, is Enya. I really dig Enya. I've had LPs before, but now I just have stuff on cassette and CD, and I've never owned her very, very first. I think there's been reissues of this, or maybe there's just been like collections and anthologies or whatever put out of her music called The Celts. But that's the first track on this album, which is her first album. I've heard people refer to this album as being called The Celts album. I don't know, but it's just Enya's first self-titled, 1986. She had just left the group in Ireland called Clannad and started her own kick-ass career on the Atlantic label. They signed her first and foremost on their New Age little offshoot that they did. So this is really fantastic. It's not much different than everything else she did beyond this because there was a huge stretch, a huge gap between this and then her big, the one that really sold her to the world, Shepherd Moons. I believe that was in 80, I want to say 89 or 90. So, 3-4 years between her first self-titled and then next. I don't know. I just adore her. I think it's fantastic. And I have that in my blood. I love, Celtic music, traditional folk stylings of, that part of the world. So, Jesus, I just talked for like 5 minutes about Enya. Sorry, guys. Swing and a miss right out of the gates. Majors 0 for, here we go. Okay, well, this is 2. So, This will make a lot of you guys happy. I've been promising a lot of my loyal viewership that I would be a good boy because I love progressive rock, and I absolutely do love everything that the boys did in the latter faction of the band Genesis. Everything after, what, 75, right? Didn't Gabriel say peace out right after Lamb Lies Down on Broadway in 75? So whatever. This is actually a little bit later. I don't think they do anything on this anthology collection best of from probably the early 90s. They put this out. I don't think they do anything from Trick of the Tail or Wind and Wuthering or no, they what's it called? And Now There Were Three or whatever that is from like 79. I think it's basically everything from 1980. Which is that AbCab? Sorry guys, like I said, my later faction of Genesis history and song knowledge and all that is shite. I don't know anything about the latter half of Genesis's career. Now I'm gonna get learned, at least get a good head start on a lot of shit. You know, I own Duke. Duke's a pretty good listen, pretty good spin, but it didn't melt its way into my heart that deeply. So I didn't hold on to it, didn't keep it. But I love and respect everything Phil Collins has done for the world. All those guys. Yeah. Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford are the shit, too. So some really great 80s jams in here. Okay, a little bit embarrassed. So get off my nuts, guys. Come on. I'm not going to even go as far as to say I love her as an artist. I don't know. I think she's gorgeous. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I'll buy something just to appreciate the look of a woman. And she's incredibly talented as well. I'll also say that I bought specifically this album because there's some really banging fucking songs on this album that are fantastic pop songs. Tay Tay, Taylor Swift's album Red from like what, 2006 or 7? I don't even fucking know. I have no idea. I don't know anything about her as a person. I just know that there's some pretty fun sing-along songs on this album that I've sang along with my daughter, and my daughter loves this fucking album. And I just bought it because it was $1. What is that song that I love? Just the one that's on the radio. I don't even know where it is now. I Knew You Were Trouble. That's probably it. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Yeah, that's a great song. Whatever. Now I'm really embarrassed. But that's a great fucking album for $1. Here's another one, great album for $1. I got this at the Junkstore as well. I've had it on LP. I've had it in every format, I think. I probably even had it on cassette in high school. When this came out in like 94, maybe 93. Yeah, whatever. This shit was wicked cool because I was one of those kids that was really into, you know, I was a band guy. I played in the band, I played in jazz band, whatever. So when rock, I mean like really like modern rock of the 90s began to fuse with the jazz world, that was kind of like, I'm not going to go as far as to say it was a new idea, but it was just kind of like when you're a kid listening to alternative rock of the late 80s, early 90s, and then someone finally throws some jazz stylings in with it and it all gels so well and you're like, this is fucking amazing. It's like, yeah, people have been doing shit like that for like decades upon decades. I get it. But this was just my flavor, and it was my first real step into like something that could be like punk as fuck and yet still have like saxophone and jazz stylings in it. And I love that. Still love Morphine. Cure for Pain, dude. Every fucking song on this is a banger. I don't know. Candy's kind of a stupid song. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Candyland. Song about a hooker. Who knows? I think half these songs are probably about, pardon the expression, I guess I shouldn't be using the term hooker anymore, right? Is that a negative term, derogatory toward sex workers? Sorry, all you sex workers out there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure half these songs are about whores. Cure for Pain's a great song. Yeah, the whole first 3 tracks, dude. Dawn and Buena. Yeah, pretty fucking cool album. I was really into these guys in high school. Cool shit. Last of my CDs, this made me very happy. Actually, I I gave away a lot of my trade money for this, but I had to have it because I don't know, and I'll I'll cut you guys straight. I'll slip this to you straight. I've never listened to any of one of my favorite bands on CD. I've only ever heard it through whatever, MP3 format, whatever I'm getting through streaming services or whatever. I don't understand the technological horse shit of the day. I've never heard this band on CD. I've only ever had vinyl or the opposite end of that, audio spectrum. And so buying this bad fucking ass anthology, double disc of Camel, one of my very, very favorite prog jazz fusion rock bands. This is fantastic. This is just kind of like every single banging song that they ever wrote. And a lot of their songs are like, in the 6 to 11 minute range, which is rad. I wouldn't say 6 to 11 minutes, but they were, there's a great balance of like 3 and 4 minute pop songs and like some really banging like 8-minute prog yum ones. It's really awesome, and it sounds so fucking fabulous. In a lot of ways, my ears and my brain are fully tuned to like what was going on in the 80s and 90s that was on the radio and what the companies were selling us, and some of these master engineers and these fucking scrubbers, dude, Bob Ludwig's and whatever, Brendan O'Brien, just looking up on the science of like how to make a cyclical, beautiful, presentation of a produced album. That's what my brain grew up on, y'all. So the real fine-tuned digital, remastered sound, especially out of something that I've only ever heard analog LP versions of, hearing that shit in my car for the first time, like, hit me, this remastered shit, all of their best songs. Like, it was a very special day for me. This was $20 used, so I imagine brand new, it's probably, if you wanted to buy this on Discogs, I bet you it'd cost you probably $79.99, probably more. And House of Records, Eugene, Oregon, no one's looking for Camel. No one gives a shit about Camel. And I adore them, so this is a huge score for me. That's all my CDs, guys. Pardon me while I slip one between my teeth. All right, I'll get to it. I'll get to the LPs, guys. I didn't get any tapes. I was looking through the tapes, and just cassette tapes. They want real fucking money for cassette tapes these days. They want $20 for a Megadeth cassette. I almost did it because I just had trade money, and I was just like, whatever, I'll pay $20 for a fucking Megadeth cassette. No, that's stupid. I should never do that. Megadeth is rad, though. All right, I'll try to burn through these guys because, oh my God, I got a huge, awesome stack of new shit, guys. Like I said, trade credit, House of Records, booyah. And I just went to town. It's been a while since that, because I had no obligations this last Monday. I dropped the kids off at school on a Monday morning. Boom, I'm free. Just that one day. Usually, actually, I either pick up from school or sit with my niece. I have a little niece that's 3 years old. She's adorable. So usually that's my Monday. And often I'll go pick up the kids after school too, but their mother's been keeping them on Mondays. So it's just kind of rare. A guy like me in his 40s, 2 kids, full-time job. When do I ever get, like 18 straight hours to myself and just to be me? It's almost kind of like unnerving. I was like, that was the energy I had this week. You know what I mean? Just like unnerved and like quick to snap. Luckily going to the House of Records on Monday like that, and it was so fucking cathartic. It was so cathartic. I never get to do this, and that's what people like us, collectors, appreciators, people who collect, vinyl records, to appreciate the music and for every other reason, that's your thing. That's church, dude. That's fucking church. That's me on a Monday morning at 10 a.m., new arrival day, digging through, 6 fat stacks of new arrivals and picking out dope shit and getting to hang out for 2 hours straight. Probably longer. I was probably there till after lunchtime. And I put my fingers on every goddamn record in that store, except for the dollar garbage and like all the soundtracks and musicals and classical and stuff. I mean, I didn't need to touch all that. So but it was rad. It was so great, guys. So anyway, jibber jabber, that's what I do. I'll try to get through this quick. And I went to the new age electronic instrumental, nerd section, and just cleaned the house in that section. Took everything I could find that was under $5 and put it in a stack. And walked away with a dozen of records that nobody gives a shit about. So I'll just blow right through them. Anything on Windham Hill I buy because I love it, and I've amassed a collection that's almost probably 100 selections now on just that label. They're all cataloged quite well, so I know that I'll have, I don't know how many they ever put out, but it can't be any more than probably 500 or 600 LPs. They were only a record label, an active record label for 8 years, 9 years, whatever. Scott Kasu's album Wind Dance. Yeah, from 1981. Excited about that. I think he's primarily a guitar player, right? Or is he a pianist? He's the pianist, right? This ought to be great. Recommended to me by none other than Greg, the master, the master of disaster down at the House of Records. He's the head honcho down there, and he's just like, man, you never really listened to this one, have you? And I was like, no, I've only listened to the first album, or maybe the second volume, I think is the yellow one. He's like, man, this is great. He takes all those rags and, down tempo, much more kind of methodical and much more kind of somber, mellow, moody kind of versions of classic Scott Joplin piano tunes. So I'm really excited to hear this guy's renditions, what he did like in the late 50s and early 60s. What is his name? Joshua Rifkin. Should be cool. I like piano music. More piano music. Liz Story, I've talked about her. I don't have this one. So now this is like the third LP by her I have, and second on the Windham Hill label, 1985. She's gorgeous. Amazing pianist. More piano. Genius. Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen does everything on the Rising Sun label. This was, of course, I'm speaking I'm speaking like this is present day. This was like in mid 70s to late 70s. Marcus Allen did a string of these. Now I have probably like 5 out of the 6 on that Rising Sun Records label that Marcus Allen, I think, was the founder of. An amazing pianist. Solo Flight, yeah, it's probably his first one that he did. Pretty cool. Gosh, more solo piano, David Lanz. Now I have like at least about 3 or 4 of his on this Narada label collection. So Heart Sounds. Getting really, really fucking goofball on here, guys. I love this shit. Now y'all have probably heard of Stephen Halpern, I'm sure, because he's the guy who likes the gizmos. He's the stuff that takes things out to the cosmos. Stephen Halpern and all of his electronic keyboard wizardry. He and Dallas Smith, which he's also a master of disaster on the keyboards. Dallas Smith did a whole bunch on that Marcus Allen label that I was just discussing, Rising Sun Records. Dallas Smith did albums for him. A lot of great stuff. More fucking awesome nerd music, dude. All these albums are just like mint condition. No one's ever touched them. I got them all for like $3 a piece. Okay, guys, here's some popular jazz that you guys love. Not literal jazz. I just use jazz in a really loose sense. You've all seen this a million times. Yeah, I've showed it on my channel, but like a year ago. I sold the copy I had. It was just like a, standard repress on like kind of like that baby shit green color. And it's like, I've had a lot of fun and listened to this for years. I don't really need it right now. I sold it at a record show, got probably like $30 for it. And now it's just kind of like, I got the trade credit and I haven't listened to it for probably about a year. So now I'm stoked because I have this really interesting, cool colored splatter vinyl. Is it splatter, or what would you call that? Is that marble vinyl? I don't know. That really interesting, like purplish pink color mixed with the green. This is such a great album. Mort Garson. All of the rest of his albums are just a little bit too kind of heavy and avant for me. He goes into some pretty interesting places, subject matter wise, and his playing and everything. It's interesting. But this is kind of, much more lighthearted, and I don't know. I guess that's kind of me. I don't know. I like some heavy, dark shit sometimes, but I also like music for plants, a bunch. So, this is probably what I'm most excited about right now. Um, I mean, out of everything, guys, out of everything that I've discovered this year and everything I kind of have right now, I'm listening to this the most. And I mean, I just got it too, even only, what, 4 days ago, 5 days ago? And it's kind of been on nonstop. Never even heard of either of these artists. Primary artist being, a pianist, synthesizer, sound effect coordinator guy. I've never really looked him up. His name is Hans Joachim Rodelius. If he is the same Rodelius that used to maybe he'd do a couple of concept collaborative albums with Eno and a few other guys. I don't know. Wasn't he back in kind of the krautrock scene or something like that? Maybe it's not the same person, but who knows? Teaming up with a group called Dallas Acid from Texas, I'm assuming. It was recorded in Austin. They, do little dedications and thank you notes to each other down here. Thanks for coming and recording this with us, blah, blah, blah. It was a blast to hang out with you. Whatever. This must have just been a pandemic album, just a collaborative effort, maybe done online. We're going to start seeing a lot of this, all kinds of these, pandemic albums. This is just fucking amazing, guys. It is just beautiful. They call it mind cinema, and this just, I love this style of, abstract. This has got to be with chalk, I'm assuming, or whatever that type of art is called. I don't know. It's just beautiful. Look, it's kind of Wassily Kandinsky kind of, stylistically. It's just beautiful. This album's fucking amazing. It gives you that sense. It's just very out there, ambient, spaced out. There's moments of kind of popular sounds though. It's kind of classified as being kind of space rock or psych rock or experimental, but there's no, it's almost beatless throughout the majority of the album. And it's all just experimental, instrumental, fucking awesomeness. There's, huge inspirations, all of those beautiful Richard Wright passages that you have all through, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, just middle 70s Pink Floyd, space rock. It's fucking gorgeous, guys. Check it out. Like I said, I'm most excited about this week. And this is kind of a breath of fresh air for me right now. This is exactly what I needed. Something that's just reminiscent of everything about, kind of prog and space rock and ambient and electronica that I love. It's all those things all smashed into one kind of perfect elemental stew. Yeah, on a record label called Astral Editions. I don't know, I'm really excited about this find, guys. It was only $20. Pretty stoked. More nerd shit. Yeah, music for your plants. I've seen this, but I've just never thought to pick it up. Actually, I got this at the Junkstore for $2, and it's in great condition. And it's more just kind of nerdy, we plug the plants into the machines, and we've discovered that they especially love and respond and show stimuli to, these specific songs more than anything. And it's just mad classics, dude. Some Vivaldi, Mozart, Beethoven, Mendelssohn, Tchaikovsky, and Grieg. Yeah, 6 beautiful hits performed by, not exactly sure who, but those dudes and dudettes. Yeah, killer bassoon to some ferns, and I'm sure the ferns appreciate it. Got myself a mint copy, and I'm sure I'll enjoy the hell out of it. And these things, guys, I love these. I've shown these before. I have a whole bunch of them back here on display. That one, and I don't know if you can see the predominant percussion there. I got a few more. I got some provocative. Now I have predominant, provocative, and persuasive. I have other volumes. I don't know how many volumes they made, but it's on that great Command label that does all these just real fantastic, discovery and audio technology, late 50s, early 60s. I just love the art style. The just really stark shine and sheen. These are all absolutely fucking mint. It's just fucking cool to me. I like it. I like like I said, the art style, the presentation. It's fun to put on and listen to. And listen to your kind of stereo, just kind of like, you know, burble, like it's just kind of like, you know, a concoction in a mad scientist's lab. You know, that's kind of how they, you know, the discovery of stereo sound. Bongos, flutes, and guitars. Persuasive Percussion Volume 2. I love that one. You know, the color and, like I said, the art styling is just fantastic. Provocative percussion. Yeah, just add to, like, you know, at least the 10 or 12 more that I have back here. It's pretty cool. So now I have all those. It reminds me of that, you know, I talk incessantly about this fantastic label for, it's a Scandinavian, you know, psych jazz rock label called called El Paraíso. The band is Casual but all the members of that band and another band called Papir are an art, you know, collaborative effort. They play all the music, and there's a couple guys like Jacob Scott and somebody else. I can never remember his name, but one of the guys who's the drummer for Casual does all of the art for the whole label, all the bands, and it's just gorgeous. It looks all like that, just that real stark, lots of shapes, and, you know, I don't know. I'm into that shit. I'm rambling, guys. Here's another one that I picked up because it was in that section of just kind of like the experimental avant section, and I'm like, oh, this looks fucking cool. Awesome cover, you know, and the band's name is fucking rad. Invite the Spirit. That's the name of the group. No, the group is... they're called all the artists by their last names, you know, like Modesty, Martin, and Wood, or whatever. Kaiser Noise Park on this celluloid OAO label. I don't know, it's just random shit I've never seen before. Looked really cool. Took it home. It's like Korean, like it's, you know, Korean folk music, you know, traditional Korean music. And then a dude with a guitar and a dude with a drum set, and you're like, man, this is gonna be fucking cool. It's really not great. I gave it a solid chance. It's a double disc. I just spun the entire first disc, A and B, and it's a bit much for me. It's, you know, a little bit too much of the avant, if you ask me. I can't handle a lot. As deep as I go generally is kind of like Zappa in the rock and roll. You know, in the rock and roll genre, Zappa is about as avant as I can really get. Because even a lot of that prog, it just kind of like, it makes sense musically. You know what I mean? Like compositionally. Prog always makes tons of sense, you know? Zappa doesn't always make a fuckload of sense. Zappa's, like I said, a little bit on that, sometimes a little bit too quirk for me. And then you get into this, which is just kind of like, borderline almost just kind of noise. Whatever, worth a try. It was only a few dollars, so this one might end up just like in the sale pile. It's cool though. All right, guys, burning through it, getting into the popular. I promise. Here we'll get into the popular, but this was just kind of like another. I was like, no name. It's just a couple names and a date, and I like that kind of shit. And when it's on ECM, I don't even know the fucking names. Larry Carouche and Glenn Moore. I don't know either of those artists, but like I said, it's just the artistic expression of it all. It's a great photo. Yeah, great photo, and anything that's, you know, super slick, clean. I think I got this at the Junkstore for only $2. Super slick, clean ECM jazz. I'm sure it's fantastic. So excited about that. That's a huge fat stack of nerd music. Thanks for getting through that with me, guys. Only a few more, really. I've had so many copies of this. Why I ever let it go, I don't know why. Love him, especially, you know, I'll admit, like I said, I'm from 80s and 90s, man, and I kind of like his kind of later career more than I like his right after he, you know, left from Genesis and started doing his own solo stuff. The first three, like, you know, the Melt and Scratch and all those other four of them, I guess, really, that he did, they were all self-titled. Was this the first one that he gave it a real title? No, I'm sure there had to have been one before this, but I don't know. I like the album So a lot. This album's getting harder and harder to get your hands on because it's so fucking great, and everybody knows that now, and they're not letting go of them. So when you do get a clean copy of these, you know, used, original pressing, whatever, from 80, what was it, 85? 86, you gotta pay 15, 20 bucks for it now. It's wild. And like I said, I've had 15 copies of this, and I've only ever paid $1 for it. So this was news to me now. I was like, fuck, okay, that's it. I'm never gonna get rid of this again now because I gotta have this. It's fantastic. This one, I like Us a lot as well. Us is a fantastic album. Love this era of his career, Peter Gabriel. So finally, a copy that I'll never let go of. It's immaculate. It's in excellent condition. So worth paying 20 bucks for this one too, because I've had a million copies of this, and every time I find one that's in better condition than the one I have, I just have to get it because it's my favorite Pink Floyd album. I was just talking about it. Of course, wish you were here. This is a magnificent first pressing. It does not include, unfortunately, the postcard. Of course, it doesn't have that blue, the blue sleeve that it was sold in. But I've had a copy of one of those. I think I had a UK pressing, because didn't the UK one have like a kind of a dingier, darker kind of gray blue one of it? Anyway, whatever. I'm rambling again. This one does not have the postcard or the poster. Didn't it come with a poster? Was it a poster, or was it just like a like an insert leaflet? Whatever. It's got, you know, the really nice original inner. It is a solid, very good plus. The one I had before was probably a VG minus. There was some pretty bad surface noise, and especially when you get to the last Shine On You Crazy Diamond parts 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or however it goes. There's some really low subtleties in the end, and when it's just chronically, you hear the spattering and the crackling of bacon. I fucking hate that when it's at really low, emotional, soft, mellow moments, and Richard Wright is just selling it to you, and it's all I hear is, you know. I constantly strive to get it better. This is an original first U.S. issue, so now I have a VG plus copy. Finally, it's getting more and more expensive and more hard to find. This really made me happy because I finally, not the new arrivals section, but the recent release section, you know, the stuff that's new, is usually right up front, right at the cash register, right near the counter. So they're like, oh, hey, you know, right before you check out, don't forget that there's new shit. Take a gander real quick. So I always hit that very kind of like last minute, kind of before I cash it out at the house. And I'm really glad I ran into this. It's pretty all right so far. It hasn't really fully warmed onto me yet, but I'm sure it will. These guys have a big place in my heart. I adore them. There's a new Kikugaku Moyo album in town, guys. It's called, what is it? Kumoyo Island. Beautiful art, like always, whoever does their art. This has got to be the second installment. Maybe even he's done 3 for them. I don't know if he did House in the Tall Grass, but he definitely did Masana Temples and this one. So I don't know. Like I said, it hasn't warmed up to me yet. It feels, it's far more kind of like experimental and odd, more than they, you know, their previous albums are kind of just more kind of like classic psychedelia mixed with progressive rock, you know, psych rock to a degree, but it's always kind of just mellow and groove oriented. That's the kind of krautrock inspirations that this band has, but this one just feels a little bit more kind of like outlandish, just experimental, you know, in the sense of just odd atmospheric sounds going on, and just not a lot of like groove music, and that's kind of what they were known for. It's kind of like trance groovy kind of psychedelic rock. I don't know. I'm gonna listen to it some more. I'll listen to it some more tomorrow, and yeah, I'll warm up to it, I'm sure, because I fucking love this band. They're magnificent. If you guys don't know Kikugaku Moyo, check them out. Japanese Like I said, Japanese psych rock. Pretty cool. Had many copies of this too. I don't usually hold on to it very long. It's very popular. And I'm a resale guy. I go to record shows. I do the thing. I'm a horse trader. So Beatles albums kind of just come and go. We've all heard our fair share of Beatles songs and owned our fair share of albums. But I admitted to myself and to a homie of mine, close friend of mine, you'll see him on the show again soon, my homie Nick, admitted to him, I was just like, man, I have not fucking sit down and listened to the entire album of this probably in 25 years, probably since I was in high school. I had a lot of close friends and of course love the Beatles, but Abbey Road, dude, their sign off. I have not sat and listened to this whole album, you know, top to bottom, tip to bizzle, front to back in a long time, well more than 20 years, and it's so fucking phenomenal. It's so amazing. The whole B-side, it's like the fucking most incredible B-side ever. The whole just kind of long medley style, just, you know, somewhat conceptual. Such a fantastic farewell to the world as a band. Yeah, phenomenal album. And now I have a excellent, very excellent, I mean, it's brand fucking almost near mint. It is. It's goddamn near mint. Beautiful, but probably early 80s. I haven't looked up the catalog number yet, but I think it's an early 80s or late 70s reissue. It's like that plum, that purple capital label. It's just an absolute gem of an album. So now I have a solid copy I will never let go of. Unless I might get one of those new mono reissues that they're doing. I don't know if they've done this one yet. Pretty fabulous album. Another one I'm incredibly excited about. God rest his soul. We just lost him. Was it this year or was it late last year? Feels like it was early this year. Anyway, I'm not sure exactly if this is the last thing he gave us before he peaced out, or if this was all stuff that was kind of just in the bank from years, decades of work. And I can't wait to, this has popped up like on a Pandora channel of mine and whatever. And so I've just like made sure that I get this, you know, as soon as I can, because it just plopped out and it's very special to all of us, isn't it? Yeah, God rest his soul. Klaus Schultz left us, I think it was early this year. And I believe this was his swan song, Dus Arrakis, it's called. Dus Arrakis. Don't know what that means. Probably 2 rings, 2, yeah, who knows? Man, it's fucking, dude, 3 discs. I knew, it felt weighty. It's a triple disc, cool. And it's all like 16-minute and 18-minute, like epic fucking tracks. Oh my God. I haven't listened to it yet, guys. Like I said, it's popped up on like my playlists and stuff when I'm at work. And I'm just, every time I go to my phone, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I gotta get this album. Now I got it. It really wasn't even that expensive. I think this was one of the weightier ones that I bought. I think it was $30, $32 or something for a triple disc. Some Klaus Schultz. Fuck yes. Very excited for that. It's beautiful too. Can't stop looking at it. Okay guys, almost done. Yeah, I've, you know, again, had 5 copies of this. It always kind of floats in and out of my collection. But I am going to hold on to this one. I like having original pressings of stuff, even if they don't look fantastic. And I don't really care about that with this one because it's just fun to have an original pressing of Paranoid. It sounds really, really good. Yeah, it's just all intact. Looks fantastic. It's just such a fucking classic. Every time I sell it, I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Now I got a keeper. A real good keeper copy. A Paranoid. Ba-dum. Ba-dum. Okay, guys. I'll leave you with this. This is, you know, a real Bittersweet one, I guess you could say. I've been doing this to myself recently, trying to, maybe as a form of therapy, as a form of just kind of like, getting over it, getting over shit. Buying music back up that just, reminds me of difficult times in my life. With a little bit of loss here in the last, this last decade has been a bit rough on yours truly, your humble narrator. The last decade's been a fucker, and sometimes some of the music that I listen to just really embodies periods of time in my life. And it's difficult to face that sometimes. And this is one of those albums and kind of one of those bands really all together. But yeah, it's I'm letting it back into my life after after shutting it out for a while. And it kind of feels good, but it's sardonic, it's bittersweet. And these guys, none better. I've talked about them recently, actually, because I bought a really great copy of their second album, and now this is their third album. I found an insanely cool, very moderately priced box collection of Infinite Arms by Band of Horses. Hooray for Band of Horses. I think they're fantastic. Most people can't fucking stand them. They don't like the vocal stylings or whatever their issue is with it. It's just really great, catchy alt rock with some twang in it, with lots of inspirations. There's lots of Beach Boys inspiration. There's lots of, like I said, Americana folk, twang, country, a little bit of everything. Some hard rock, They're a cool fucking band. And Infinite Arms is a fantastic representation of them. It's my favorite album by them. Like I said, it's their third. Has this really beautiful, beautiful presentation. The pull cord so you can get the LP out in its jacket. It has, a big art folder. And I think this one, it comes with the CD. So you have the album on disc, and you have a big ass poster that you can hang up if you want, frame it, whatever the fuck. And then besides all the other ephemera, there is, I'm not going to pull them all out, but there's a kind of like a la Pearl Jam 1996 kind of, stylistically. They give you Polaroids, but they're larger than Polaroids. They're like, I guess they're 8x10s, maybe a little bit smaller, maybe like kind of like a 7x9, but bigger than postcards, and then you get a bunch of beautiful, beautiful photography of the American Southwest and Midwest. I'm assuming, maybe at the Northwest, some of these. Montana, probably. Yeah, pretty fucking cool. These guys are great. Like I said, just like a big fat bite of some really wonderful Americana. And they are, representative of a really great time in my life and something that I, maybe little bits and pieces of regret in there somewhere. So it is what it is. The Band of Horses has always reminded me of a bittersweet time in my life. So that is all the cool shit that I got this week, guys. So thanks for hanging out with me and letting me show it to you. I'm going to go eat some Bombay chicken soup and, try to fight off this cold that I feel coming on. Peace out.